Well, Rich Rodriguez went on his radio show tonight and basically told it like it is. We didn't have enough money to start the year, but where'd the $5 million go? I don't know. My head hurts.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. This is Locked On West Virginia. Well, we're diving into another edition of the football show, guys. Thank you so much for joining in as we have a good time with you tonight. Tonight, we're talking Rich Rodriguez, and we're not alone. We're doing it with Troy from Mountaineer Moment, my good buddy. Thank you for joining in, brother, as we dive into another episode of the show. Going to be brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. That'll make you holla. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Make sure you download the FanDuel app today. Troy, how you doing tonight, brother?
I'm doing good, man. Just got back from a little Top Golf session.
Golf.
Hitting the ball decently. Not an ad, by the way, but we were doing all right. And I'll tell you what, through this football season, I don't know if everybody feels this way, but Mountaineer Paul and Locked On West Virginia seems to be keeping me sane. So I'm happy to be here, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's what I try to do. I try to bring some form of sanity to the discussion. That's what I'm known for. Definitely not overreacting or insanity.
No, never.
Let me get this light fixed here. So, dude, I don't know if you know this, but Rich Rodriguez had a soiree, if you will, tonight, where he went on a radio show and started discussing several different topics, which we're going to go over. But I would say not the least of which would be the financial situation at West Virginia. I want to get your take on this. And, you know, I think this is a situation where I think I get what he was coming from, but there are some of us that don't quite understand why this is. So let's just kind of go over what was said. I wish I had the radio show to play. I should have recorded it, but I was too busy. So we are where we are. I've got some bullet points. Thanks to Keenan Cummings over at On3, who logged all of these, and these are just my spin off of him logging those. I did hear this in real time, but I can't remember everything. Rich Rodriguez, my oven has a sensor that's messing up on it, right? So I'm going to ask you a question, and then you take over, and I'm going to go fix that while you talk.
All right.
So Rich Rodriguez basically went on his show and said, hey, look, we didn't get the talent we needed because we couldn't afford it. But we know about the $5 million. Just tell me your thoughts on that while I go fix this.
Sure. Yeah. Obviously something that we've talked about a few times here on Mountaineer, Mountaineer Moment on my show. And obviously too here on Locked On West Virginia with Mountaineer Paul. It is this idea of $5 million. Like, why didn't we utilize it? Why didn't we spend it? And, that's gotten Mountaineer Paul fired up a lot. And it's a very, very valid question. And so for me, I don't know that it's kind of interesting that Rich, especially in light of the fact that we've been having this conversation here on this show in particular. And, I think he's more hopeful, obviously, toward what's to come versus where we've been. and you would hopefully think that would be the case for your head coach because of how difficult this season has been. But yeah, it's a little frustrating. It's a little like, all right, well, yeah, why didn't we utilize fully what we could have for this season? We've talked about, endlessly here, especially, man, like how much of a factor could that have made, if we spend that money on the offensive line this year versus saving it or whatever. But again, I get the gist of maybe what Rich Rod's getting at there. Like, all right, well, next season, he does feel better about the place they're in financially to give it a go and to go harder in the portal or just recruiting guys out of high school. And so there's an excitement with that. You have to find the silver lining in everything. And, maybe you can be a little optimistic about what's to come. But yeah, it is frustrating regarding this year, I think.
Well, here's the thing. Let me ask you this. If you gave okay, let me put you in Rim Baker's shoes, okay, or somebody else's shoes. No, actually, let's reverse that. I'm going to be Rim Baker. You're going to be a donor. You gave me $600K, let's just say, before the season started. Really excited about the year. And then it comes out after the year that I didn't spend $5 million, and you and your contemporaries know this. And I don't know the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they talked to him. Everybody agreed. But I don't get that necessarily. I'm not trying to ruffle feathers here. I just want to know, like, how do we know they're going to spend it next year?
Right.
How do we know they're not going to kick the can down the road again? I would love to believe that they will, and I think they will. Like, I listen, I'm the biggest Rich Rod advocate there is.
Mm-hmm.
But this frustrates me a little bit because this year's team suffered. There are players on this team that are seniors that deserve to have a good year too.
Yep.
It's not all about the fans, right? It's about everybody. And I get you got to make these business decisions, but you can't. I just feel like you can't. This is probably why I get in trouble, but I feel like you just can't say that you didn't spend $5 million and then a week later say we don't have enough money. I mean, I feel like it's a very fair statement to make.
Yeah, hard to disagree with that, right? Hard to disagree with that and to think anything's wrong with what you just said, because there's not. And it's like talking out of both sides of your mouth, right? Like, there's different things that we're being presented with that make us question. And I fully agree with your point being, like, it's not just about what fans are saying, but these players, you rattled off on an episode I wasn't even on with you, but I watched it. You ran through, I think it was our defense, and you're like, senior, and all those guys transferred in. Like, they wanted to do what we could do to the best of our, program's ability this year to win football games, and leaving money on the table in this new era of college football where it's about money. And I mean, look at Texas Tech, man. Look at Texas Tech. It's not a program all that different from us, but they went out and spent their money this year, and they're doing A-okay. It's a different era, different way of doing things, and we got to get with the time sooner rather than later. And we're making the right steps, but this year, that is a frustrating point.
It is, just because you're sacrificing now for later, and I get that. But has anybody considered this point, Troy? And let me ask you this. What kind of pressure cooker are you in now next year? Because everybody knows and expects you to have this extra money that you're going to spend because you're using magic, basically. You're not spending it this fiscal year, right?
Yep.
You're going to spend it. Well, you're spending it this fiscal year, but not this portal year, I guess is the best way to put it. It's so convoluted, but basically – the way it works is next year the portal opens, and if the fiscal year rolls over, you lose the money.
Right.
But as long as you spend it this fiscal year, and there's going to be a portal period during this fiscal year that's now. So it's like, gosh, what the heck's really going on here, but overall, I think I'm pretty happy with it. It's great that we get to spend the money later and everything. I just get frustrated with the whole situation, I guess.
Well, it's frustrating because of where we're at as a program at this very moment. That's what it boils down to. And I think you mentioned extra pressure, to spend the money and to use it and to be effective with it. But now again, this was such a year we entered into with this program of, we had no idea what we were walking into. We didn't really know what the program was going to look like as far as wins and losses, and what we're seeing now ain't pretty. And there's extra pressure in that regard now too. Because if we came out and made a bowl game this year, won 7-8 games like some people thought we were going to, there's not a hot seat. And I'm not saying I'm not one of those guys that's saying that at all about Rich Rod this season. But if we come out and lay an egg again next year, like, there's pressure to win games next year with your resources more
because
than
of this $5 million thing.
Yep, because of that. And because of the product we've seen this year. Like, all right, if it's not going to be a jump from year 1 to year 2 in the era of NIL, when you can do that, when's it going to happen?
Not just a $5 million thing, but also the $10 million. Like when Rich Rod said, look, $10 million, that's what we need. people are going to assume up to that now. They're just going to assume we got it. When we have no clue. Maybe they get 6, maybe they get 5, maybe they get 10. Like in my fantasies, that's how I think about it. Oh yeah, so we'll probably get between 12 and 15 million for the football team. Let's assume 15 million. And there's that extra 5 million we didn't spend this fiscal year, so we'll spend that, or this portal season, so we'll spend it this fiscal year on next portal opening. There's 20, and then if we go 10 above the cap, there's 30. That's 2 more than Texas Tech spent, and we'll be a national championship contender. And I mean, that's how my mind as a fan can go.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. When in reality, it's probably like 17 million or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I don't. There's one thing that I don't know. I don't think many people get intel on, and that's the financial situation of the university and what they're spending, because it's just not healthy for the players to know what everybody makes. It's not healthy for the fans to know what players are making in a state where you're poor. Like, there's just a lot with that you need to keep private. But yes, do I wish it was out there? Yeah, I do. I would love to just know. That way you can say, look, we're here and we're just not going to be where, like, it would help with expectations. Because when teams have done good in the past, Troy, with less, it's been facilities. It's not money to buy players, right? Yep. It's like, I can get Owen Schmidt to transfer up from Division III, and he can become the best fullback in school history and the best fullback in the country. But that happens a little bit more rarely now that everything's placed on finances at the Power 4 level.
Yep.
Because now these rosters are going to be filled out head to toe with players, most likely. Very few walk-ons. It's going to hurt the walk-on player. Basically, a lot of the walk-ons probably get knocked down a peg to G5, I would imagine. Yeah. That would have been P4 guys. So,
yep.
It's frustrating, man. Like I said, I just wanted to cover this topic first. It's like ripping the Band-Aid off. We got some good stuff to talk about too, though. Offensive line changes seem to be coming. Rich Rod alluded to that today. And how many more quarterbacks will we buy next year? Rich Rod talked about buying some quarterbacks, and we'll talk about the entire article that Keenan wrote, where he's kind of got all the little bullet points as to what was said right after the break. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by FanDuel. Right now with FanDuel, it's pretty simple, guys. We have a can't-miss offer. Right now, you can bet $5 that'll make you holla. Get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. You pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Whether you're casual or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today, and you too can get started. And, of course, we can't forget about our friends over at QO, formerly known as Open Phone. We love old Open Phone. What it used to be Open Phone. And one of the tools that help make a huge difference for business owners is QO. It's the same great business phone system you heard me talk about before. It's just got a new name. And here's why it matters. Every missed call is money left on the table. When every customer conversation counts, your phone system needs that connection, and you need it 24/7. The number one business phone system that streamlines customer communications, after all. It works right through an app on your phone or computer, so no more carrying two phones, relying on a landline. The built-in AI agent is a game changer. It's got after all cancer, it's got after-hour calls, it's got capturing lead times. Heck, you can even keep your business moving even when you're off the clock. See why over 90,000 businesses trust QO, formerly known as Open Phone, and you can get started for free and get 20% off your first 6 months at QO.com/LockedOnCollege. That's QUO.com/LockedOnCollege, where you can keep your existing number for free with QO. No missed calls, no missed customers. It's segment 2. Let's crack a gator do as we dive in with Troy from Mountaineer Moment. By the way, a lot of you guys have subscribed to him over the last, I want to say, weekish or two.
Yeah.
I know he was happy about that. Shows picking up for him. I think he did one of his first 1K view videos.
Yes, sir.
That's big time. That's the benchmark when you first get going. Like you hit that 1K mark, it's legit, right? So you're doing good work. You've got a great setup. It's a beautiful setup. Heck, beats the heck out of mine in the background. I mean, I've got a blanket hanging off the wall that fell. Like my stove's going over here. Phones are ringing, but we got passion, baby. That's
right, baby.
No, in all seriousness, no, I want you guys to go check out him over on Mountaineer Moment. He does a great job over there. He's also the Maryland offensive coordinator on the side. So no, that's right. But I appreciate you for coming on, brother. I just wanted to plug you really quick. He's also at Ear Moment over on X, which I tagged him in the episode for this if you didn't see it. Let me get a drink of this really quick. We're going to go over some of what Rich Rod said today, and then we'll stop on a couple things and discuss them. So he talked about the opening loss, UCF loss in his open. He talked about it being terrible, and they stunk, didn't play well on that side of the ball. The path forward, he talked about, they want to get back to winning. He said they're going to be all right, but the growing pains are more than they thought, but they know exactly what to do. They evaluate everything, and he's done this long enough. He knows how to fix it, and they will, which we've heard a few times.
Yeah.
He said in 2016 in Arizona, they lost 4 quarterbacks and 5 linebackers. He said he thought it'd never happen again, but it's happening again. And they have other guys to play. It's time for them to step up and step out because they're getting their chance now. He said there were some defensive mental errors versus UCF. He doesn't know why they made the mental mistakes they did. And they haven't made them all year, the specific ones but they did against UCF. And he was completely shocked after the first 2 series of the game. He said, but they're going to fix it, which probably means changes. The season outlook and bowl potential. He said they can still go to a bowl game, which is, I get why they're thinking that. And some of those will be nationally ranked. It's going to be a good atmosphere at home, and everybody will be evaluated. Team pride and preparation. He believes his guys have no pride.
I gotta go to a bowl game.
Yeah,
they're gonna be sitting next to us in the stands.
When you're in it, you have to. Probably could have stopped there, but yeah.
Go ahead.
When you're in the middle of it, you kind of have to. What else you suppose? You wanted to believe he's not going?
Right. No, I get it.
I mean, on some level, you have to be honest with yourself, but you don't have to be honest publicly about it, right? Yep. Like internally, he knows it's going to be a struggle to get there. But for now, we got to keep working towards getting better.
Yep.
There's got to be that right combination. Let's see. There's only a couple more of these, really. Let's see. I'll just read a couple other ones that are a little bit more juicy. Talked about TCU a little bit, but we'll get into that later in the week anyway. Oh, yeah. Khalil Wilkins and Brett Perry are injured, may not play versus TCU, so it just keeps getting better. Bad luck is not even – it's an understatement. I still don't think this approaches the 2022 basketball season. 2023. Was that 23?
We're getting there.
Is it 22 or 23 when Hugs got fired?
That is, well, let's see. 20. Hold on.
4 years.
So we're
was 4 years.
23, 24 was Eilert. 22, 23 was the
Hugs thing.
Yeah.
Correct. So, obviously we're not approaching that level of snake bitten yet. I have a list somewhere. I'll have to find it. I think there was 35 or 40 things that happened to that team. I've mentioned this before. And there was 15 or 20 things that happened to our basketball team that would be devastating for anybody else. Like, for instance, Jesse Edwards breaking his wrist, Kirk Kriisa getting suspended, Jose Perez getting kicked off the team, having to go to court, Omar Silverio not coming in. Like, I can go on and on and on about it. I had them written down. That's not even close to broaching it. And that doesn't get into the internal stuff that was going on that I've found out about since then, that season was basically deemed to be a wash anyway, before they even began.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I don't think this approaches that yet, but it's getting pretty close. let's see. Let's get to the O-line. He said, the first thing you'll point to is the offensive line when you're not running the ball well. But he said, but assignment-wise, it's actually not been that bad. He said, but physically, they're just not getting any push or absorbing much on pass protection. And we saw that yesterday, Troy, in the first or second series where for some reason Kimo Makaniole detached from his defender in pass protection, and they just went around him and sacked Scotty. Scotty had no chance yesterday. He didn't have any chance, and neither did Khalil.
Yep.
So I feel like people are saying these quarterbacks aren't worthy, and maybe they're not elite quarterbacks, but I don't think it's a fair I just hope they get a chance to stick around next year and try again at least.
Yes.
Because I think they're good enough to try again behind a better team. God, it would be horrible for Scotty, a kid that they were so high on before the year, and Khalil too, to just be done after this mess. So Rich Rod talked about Malik Agbo and let me make sure Donovan Haslam are going to get more reps on the offensive line. Does that mean start? Or I don't know, but that's music to my ears.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, if you had it your way, what changes would you make on the O-line?
Well, what he said, definitely music to my ears too. Definitely encouraging to hear. And
just so happens to be right guard, right tackle.
Yeah.
Surprised Xavier Bosley hasn't played. I mean, that shocks me.
He was a big one when we got him, man. I was pumped up for him.
Freshman All-American.
Yeah.
I'm just there has to be something else going on there physically or something. He's not recovered or
right.
Because he's talented.
I think what I would say, I mean, across the field, but certainly on the O-line, and something I was telling myself yesterday was, okay, we get flat out embarrassed to a team that was 0-3 in conference play like UCF. There's 5 games left, right? Bowl outlook not good. Tough matchups still to come, by the way. And, as you kind of think toward next season and gearing up for what that can look like, you as a coach, like if I'm the coach, if I go from being the Maryland OC to in the West Virginia, room, you have to end the seat when you get to the final game. You have to know what you've got available to you next year. And these seniors that are done aren't available to you next year. So my logic is across the field, especially O-line, play as many guys that are juniors or freshmen or sophomores as you possibly can and see what you're working with for next season, because what you're going to know. And while we might not be the most competitive team, obviously getting blown out by 100 plus points over 4 Big 12 games, but you're still playing Big 12 football, right? You're still going to learn a few things over these 5 games you have left about what you have on your team. And it's going to allow you to know, okay, we're entering transfer portal season and here's what we know we need. And you're not going to do that if you're just playing seniors right now. I'm sorry. And I get there's some guys you want to play and some guys that deserve to play because they're playing decently that are seniors and that kind of thing. But as much as you can without feeling bad about that, let's let the young guys play. I know that's a little bit of a rant, but that's how I feel.
I'm with it. I'm all definitely with it, brother. Obviously
helps you know your need.
Huh?
It helps you know your need for next year.
Yeah. And at this point, we know Carson Lee's a senior, right? We went over this the other day, but really Nick Cray, Landon Livingston are 2 guys I think that you can probably keep and bring in 3 really good offensive linemen to surround with them. And I think you could be in a good place. But, do I think that they could also possibly be replaced? Yeah, that's also possible. I don't want that to happen, obviously, but there's certainly a lot going on, right? I don't know. There's a lot going on. Somebody just texted me and said they committed, so it threw me off. I can't say who. It's a silent commit, but we do have a commitment.
There you go.
Cool. All right, well, let's move on. Obviously, I want to get into next year a little bit too. They talked about how they're going to have they're going to get 10 to 12 transfer portal guys to get some grown men in the program too. I thought that was very telling when he said that. Because, in other words, there's no grown men in the program.
Right.
Am I misinterpreting this?
No, 2 + 2 is 4. Yeah.
Let's go to break. We'll come back and talk a little bit more about that. And also, more quarterbacks incoming. Rich Rod says yes with Troy from Mountaineer Moment. And, of course, we can't forget about our friends at Monarch. Listen, Monarch has changed their name, and I'm trying to get used to it. So, all right. Let's be honest. Most of us can't even name our financial accounts, let alone what they're worth. Between 401ks, savings, and investments, it's easy to lose track. And that can mean leaving money on the table. That's why I started using Monarch, my all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or phone. I love that I can review everything with my partner, see our shared goals, and even make financial decisions together that are better. Don't let this financial opportunity slip through the cracks for you. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege at monarch.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarch.com with the code LOCKEDONCollege. All right, back with Troy from Mountaineer Moment, segment 3, also writes for Hell WV. Thanks for joining in on with here, brother. I needed somebody to help me tonight. I'm just, man, there's just so much content to get through on some of these things that Rich Rod said, you know.
No doubt.
Like there's a lot to talk about. I mean, I could drone on about it myself, but he mentioned Max Brown will probably be healthy enough to go. So it sounds like we might get a Max Brown start this Saturday. I'm kind of excited about that. He's somebody I think is the best passer. In my opinion, I've said all along, he's the best passer on the team.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. That included Nico. We can go look at that. Have you looked at his tape before?
I have, yeah.
Okay. I thought you had. You know, so I think he's a guy that certainly you get excited about. At least a little bit, because I think the other guys that we've tried have been run-only kind of guys. And Scotty's a guy that isn't as mobile as Max, so he can't get away from pressure. Well, he is, but not initially. So the best way I can put it is Max he's got quick burst, right? So he can really juke a guy out really quick. As to where Scotty's more like Nico, where he needs a couple steps to get away, but once he gets going, he's pretty quick. As we saw against BYU, man, he was really chewing up grass on that run. I mean, he really took off.
Yep.
You could tell it was adrenaline too. But back to Rich Rod, what he was saying, I'm trying to find the quote about the quarterbacks. He talked about high school kids now graduate early. 17 of their current commits are set to enroll in January. So that's a big deal. Don't want to overlook that part. He said something about, he said he's on the fundraising part of this. He said he's a pretty good fundraiser. It's a small state, and his goal is if they have $13 million in revenue sharing. If they get $10 million, they'll be okay. Or above $10 million, they'll be okay. You have a lot of loyalty in people that want to invest in the program. I forgot about that. So he's talking $13 million now, Troy. Today you can have those type of athletes like the old Miami teams, but any of that is close in talent will beat you. But any team that is close in talent will beat you. You have to be more prepared to do different things. Veteran quarterbacks will eat up the defenses. They say here, we are and come get us. Rich Rodriguez said, we'll try to limit what defenses can do, but it means that your guys have to be able to register things quickly too. That's not the quarterback thing. Looks like I'm just overlooking it. There's so many different things to look for. Basically, I'll just summarize it myself. They're going to bring in more quarterbacks next year. He said they're not limited to just who's on the roster. They're going to bring in more quarterbacks. I mean, although that seems like an obvious thing to say, what is your take on that? And what kind of quarterbacks would you like to see come in?
Someone that is exactly who Rich Rodriguez wants. Someone that exactly fits into some of the quarterbacks we've seen him be successful with in the past, because Rich Rod's system is Rich Rod's system. And the guys that are going to flourish the most in that are guys that fit and guys that can really, really run. We've seen even, again, it's so small sample size and it's limited success, but, the reason I guess that would be a fair statement, a lot of Mountaineer fans think Khalil Wilkins is like the best option for the Mountaineers to win right now is because of his ability to run the football. And we've seen him be effective on the ground. Obviously, through the air is a different story, but, what I've said all along, or I guess, since Nico went down, it was, all right, you got to give Khalil and Scotty a shot. You got to, and I've told you, again, kind of what I alluded to earlier with the offensive line, but you want to end this season knowing whether or not one of those guys is a legitimate option for you next year, week 1. And everything with a grain of salt, because maybe they are a better option for you with a better offensive line, but we're not going to be able to identify that this year. So it's kind of hard to answer that, but I'm glad that he's seeing that, yeah, you got to bring in some other guys and let's have another quarterback competition again. Because I don't think there's anything wrong with that this past offseason at all. I just think again, you're a product of the guys around you too. It's a team sport, and Jaheim goes down, Ty Edwards goes down, your offensive line sucks. You can't get the weapons around you the ball. You're limited as a quarterback. And like you said a few minutes ago, I thought that was a great point. You bring in these guys, again, Khalil and Scotty, and give them another shot with a new look and see what they can do with some other guys too to compete for the job.
Yeah, I think you got to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But who knows anymore? I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing these guys come, but I think, a great example I use and I've shown the screenshot many times is my talks with Trinidad Chambliss, right? The Ole Miss quarterback who has absolutely torn it up this year. He's a guy that, very much like Cam Ward, similar situation, won a national championship at the lower level, clearly the most talented player on the field. Sometimes those guys are hit or miss. I wasn't 100% sure on Chambliss. I would have been so excited if we got him, but just like anybody else, you're projecting up. But I think Rich Rod, I just think we need to take a swing at a known commodity. I know it'd be nice to have one of these guys break out next year.
Yeah.
For goodness sakes, I saw Ryder Burton lead UAB to a win yesterday. So sure, guys can get better, right?
Yeah.
If you go look at what he was at BYU before he transferred here, he just had a bunch of talent, and now he's putting that together for UAB a little bit. But yeah, I definitely think that whoever. We've already got a freshman quarterback coming in next year that can really run around, but that's not going to be next year's guy. So unless he just comes in as a Pat White type situation, so
right.
I'm just thinking I got to see guys every week. I'm telling you, UAB had a second string guy come in that legitimately is better than what we've had this season.
Yeah,
at quarterback. So, and sure, is it against a little bit lower competition? Well, actually, not really. I'd say Memphis is probably on par to some Big 12 teams, because they're so good. But yeah, it's a wild situation to think that the quarterback for next year ain't on the roster, but he ain't.
Yeah. Very real possibility for that.
There's a real possibility of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And at least we're getting to a point where we recognize that, because let's say we suck this year and Nico starts every game or Jalen starts every game, but then we don't know as fans, okay, we haven't seen Khalil and Scotty yet. The thing I was going to ask you is okay, and I don't know if you put a percentage on this or what are the odds this happens, but what's the realistic chance that we go and get a guy the moment he commits, we know he's QB1? Because that hasn't, I can speak to just what we've seen in Mountaineers in previous regimes just because it's familiar to us. But we've seen that with Will Greer, JT Daniels, which we know how that one panned out. But what are the odds that happens?
I don't think we would go that route necessarily. I don't think we would go Caden Salter or somebody like that, where it's this guy's got a lot of potential.
Right.
I think it would be a guy that's probably obscure, but that can really run.
Yeah.
But or it's somebody they've evaluated that people have missed on. If they go after a dude, it's because we can afford it.
Yeah.
Which is a great sign. But like personally, if you told me next year, hey, Khalil Wilkins or Scotty Fox is going to be back and you're going to have to deal with it, but we're going to sink $5 million into the O line. We're going to sink $3 million into the D line. Sign me up, Dad.
Yeah.
Dad, can I please have an offensive line for next year?
Start asking
No,
now,
pal.
dude.
Pal, get up and cut them weights. My dad used to come kick the door in the mornings when my friends would stay the night. I mean, I could hear him coming before I seen him. He walked heavy, stomp,
Yeah.
stomp. And that door would just kick open. He'd already be mad because I wasn't up cutting them weeds yet. Pow! Get up and cut them weeds, boy. One time I got into a yellow jacket's nest, and I mean, I was just stung everywhere. And, somehow he didn't believe me, because like I had been known to like, one time I broke the lawnmower to get out of having to cut grass.
No shot.
We had 7 acres though, and I had a freaking push mower. So I was like, not doing this, Dad. One time I fell off a piece with this. We had this wood plank. It was scaffold. I mean, it was like this thick. It was probably about 200 pounds. Needed 2 people to carry it. So I was taking it up one rung, then the other, one side, then the other, get it up so I could stand on it. And I just lost my balance with it. And I'm sitting here holding it, falling to the ground. So I pushed off and threw it away from me. And man, I just sprained my ankle. I was like 6 or 8 rungs up.
Oof.
And I mean, it really hurt. I just see my dad looking at me. You're going to fake it, aren't you? You're going to pretend like you're hurt? I couldn't even play basketball against Chesapeake that week. I couldn't do anything. But I was faking the injury. My dad called me Root my whole life. And I'd say, Dad, why do you call me Root? Because you're dumb as a tree root, son. That's what he said.
Oh, my gosh.
He had a prosthetic arm. I think I've said this before. He also missing a finger on this hand. And he had no bend in the wrist because he got electrocuted 7,600 volts. So the wrist was like this all the time. It was just a claw.
Oh, my goodness.
And then he had a prosthetic arm here that he could flex and move open and closed. But he would take this thumb and he could flick really hard with it. And he had no feeling. And he'd be sitting there and he'd just come by and just bam, right on the top of the head. And if you made a face, you were soft.
Right.
You're not allowed to make a face.
There you go.
So, anyways, I tell stories about Dad a lot.
I love it. I think he and Rich Rod would be good friends, man. No soft people
Probably,
around here.
for sure. My dad was not soft. I got a picture of him I can show everybody really quick, and then we'll go.
Let's do it. Heck yeah.
I can't even believe I'm doing this.
I'm here for it, man. Let's go.
Oh, God. Old dad. I miss him. Unfortunately, he died really young, but he'd been through a lot, man. 7,600 volts is like a metric ton of electricity to have go through your body. And, I mean, he made it through that, but yeah, he really struggled after that, obviously, with the prosthetic arm. So he didn't use it for an excuse, though. I will give him that.
Yeah.
It's like I may have deleted it out of here, actually. I think I made another thumbnail or something. I had it on my – no, there it is. Okay. This is such a good picture of him, too. He probably looks – he was like these stories I'm telling about him are like the 1%, like he wasn't a mean person at all. Okay. That's him, my mom. But yeah. As you can see, he's got the Mountaineer shirt on.
Sir, I saw it.
But look, there's the 4 fingers.
Mm-hmm.
See him?
Mm-hmm.
And that thumb right there, man, he would just bam right on the top of the head. Oh, God. Last story. One time I was riding a horse called Hubcap. We had 2 horses growing up. One of them was Hubcap and the other one was Peaches. My dad named them. We also had a dog named Roscoe, another one named Gomez. I mean, that's just West Virginia for you.
Yes, sir.
But I was riding a horse quarter horse, and I had him out for 2 or 3 hours, and he was thirsty. I knew it. And I always take him down this same stretch all the time, but my dad would follow me just because I was learning really at the time to ride. And we were on blacktop, and we got on this straight stretch as we were heading home, and he knew where we were at, and he just took off, because he knew we were close to home. He was hot and tired and thirsty. And somehow, I don't know exactly what happened, but the bit came out of his mouth. So I couldn't register anything to pull back on him,
Right.
And that was a scary time. My dad was following me in a flatbed truck. He said he was doing like 40 miles an hour, 35, 40 miles an hour, trying to keep up with this horse. And as we approached the driveway, the horse turned in at that speed. I didn't realize they could turn at such high speed, and I kept going that way. And I just went boom right through the fence. And I broke my tail. Well, I didn't break it. I fractured my tailbone.
Oh, wow.
And my dad, man, he whipped that horse. I mean, I know a lot of animal rights people probably wouldn't love to hear this, but I mean, he was so mad in the moment the horse did that to me. He took the bridle that thing was wearing and wore its butt out for a minute. I mean, he was so mad. But that was brave as hell, man. I seen him grab a rattlesnake with that arm one time, right out of the ground. One last one, and I swear I'm done. This is the funniest story ever, honestly. We were sitting on a pier fishing in Tampa, Florida, Fort Myers, Florida, I think it was. Either Tampa or Fort Myers. And my dad hooked into a hammerhead shark. It was like 3 feet long. And it swallowed his hook. My dad had a metal prosthetic arm that was flesh colored, but he would always wear long sleeves because people would always stare. So he didn't want people to see it. And he's just used to reaching down a fish's throat and getting the hook out. So my dad reaches his prosthetic arm down this fish's mouth into the guts of it, and it's just chomping. You could hear it trying to chomp his arm off, dude.
Yeah.
And here he in the moment notices that people are looking like this old lady I'll never forget was horrified looking at him like as he's doing this. And my dad could just pop his arm out of this thing. It was like suction. He knew how to do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
And he popped his arm out of that thing, and that sleeve was just like this, and he was like, ah. And she was like, oh my God.
I would be terrified.
Yeah. At my dad's eulogy, the pastor told a funny story about when my dad was in the choir, the church choir. One time my dad's arm, because it was battery powered, died on the cooler in a speedway while he was opening it. So he had to unhook it, go find a battery in the back of the car to go change it out so he could open it. So, just
unforgettable stuff.
Unforgettable stuff.
That's cool.
He would hold it up and chant things like this guy had a rap song. It was a church rap song. He said, I hold my hands in the air like I do when I rap prayer. My dad had his arm in the air. He was always really a big sport about it.
Yeah.
When we were at Disney World, kids would come up to him and say, what happened to you? And he'd just make up different things every time. Oh, I got into a fight with a bear and a bear bit it off. Got in a fight with an alligator and an alligator bit it off. So
I love it.
Yeah. Thanks for joining in, man. Mountaineer moment. Thank you guys for letting me tell some stories about Dad. Good times, man. I always enjoy telling stories about Dad, keeping him alive that way.
That's right.
He died
That's
way
so
too
cool.
young at 53. So, Troy Mountaineer Moment does a great job over there. He's got a new channel. Please go check him out. And I will see you guys on the next one. Also on X at Ear Moment. And is there anything else you got going on? Hell, West Virginia.
Yeah, Hell WV right over there. But the big thing, most exciting thing I think going on is going on over at Mountaineer Moment. So appreciate anybody coming on over there to join the movement, join the moment, and let's go Mountaineers.
Okay. Guys, thank you so much for joining in. Like I said, Locked On West Virginia, we've gained a lot of subscribers over the last year, like 4,000. It's been a lot for this niche, So you guys have showed out for that, and I always like to thank you for it. If you could do us a favor, like the video, subscribe, share. If you're new, share. And don't forget about Locked On Big 12. Drake Toll is one of the very best there is out there right now. He just went over 40,000 subscribers, and there's a reason for that. He's, a very talented individual. I mean, he left ESPN to pursue these things. Now he's the voice of Banana Balls the bananas for Banana Ball, and he's like got one of the best Big 12 podcasts out there. So make sure you check him out wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll see you on the next one, guys. Until then, don't forget to cue them country roads. We're out.